So, breaking news: Mnangagwa to stand a trial for human rights abuse that was on the 23rd of September. That's where the trial commences, if I'm not mistaken. And also, I can actually see that this whole empire is falling apart. That's all I can say. The entire empire is falling apart. All right. And Tendai, we just said, what have we done to you? You know, Tendai is like, it's time for you to go. So yes, this regime is being taken to the cleaners. I must tell you. All right, so if it's your first time to come across the channel, please make sure that you subscribe and turn on notification button so that every time I'm live, you will be notified immediately. Also, want to send some love and light to those that are always joining me every time I'm live, to say shout out to you guys. And those that will watch the video a little bit later, you are special and appreciated. But don't forget to like the live so that we push algorithm, inviting everyone as we're getting closer to the most sensitive times of our life. People want Mnangagwa go. What else do they want? They want him gone. Like yesterday. Good to see you, Sylvester. KB, good afternoon to you guys. It's an interesting times ahead. I'm excited. I am excited. Honestly, I just want to send some shout out to all the attorneys that came together to make sure they call this regime to order. I want to say to you, I respect you, brothers, for all the work that you're doing. Honestly, you also don't forget that among those attorneys is also Obed Shava, the one that was abducted and tortured as well, which means, honestly, I know some people may think this is a joke, but wait and see what's going to happen. It's going down. Don't also forget that there's also Chiwengo on the other end who says corruption is the problem that we have in this country that is taking away our peace. Again, human rights abuse is definitely on the bedrock of what? Of corruption. you know what I'm saying? Of corruption. So here we are now. Let's listen to Tendai Beauty, please. Drop your location. I'd like to know where you guys are watching us from. So let's listen to Tendai Beauty again, addressing President Emmerson Mnangagwa on the issue of the third term, whatever it's called. I'm no longer even entertaining nonsense. But I think the most important part is what we are going to be looking at tonight. So this afternoon, the issue of the lawsuit that Mnangagwa has to be taken to the cleaners. Take a listen, please.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa has said that he will not be extending his term of office. Is this good news for Zimbabwe and the economy?
If he meant it, it would be the best news we would have had, but he doesn't mean it. The man is actually on a serious campaign to extend the term of office. Look at what Munyaradzi Machacha is doing. Look at what Daniel Gary was doing in March East yesterday. Look at what his cronies are doing. So they are on a serious campaign mode to extend, to push for a third term. And with the connivance of Chabangu and others, they control, Parliament. So this is a disaster. They want to push this country to war. They want to push this country to Armageddon. I appeal to Emmerson Mnangagwa, abandon this idea of a third term. Abandon this idea of a third term, because it will lead this country to a war. But certainly, my plea and the plea of decent Zimbabweans will fall on deaf ears, because the man is desperate. More so those in the courtyard, those that have been feeding from him, they are desperate to see that he continues. They're saying 2030, it's way after 2030. He wants the same 38 years that Robert Mugabe had. Fortunately or unfortunately, he doesn't have the 38 years that Mugabe had in 1980. So it's a disaster. This country is on a precipice. This country is on a knife edge because of these games that they are playing of trying to extend his term of office to 2030. It's a disaster, but unfortunately, one that will cause the unnecessary splitting of blood in this country. We lost over 50,000 people during the War of Liberation. We lost over 30,000 people during Kukurawundi. We lost thousands of people during the birth of the MDC, the Land Reform Program. Enough blood has been lost in this country. We are losing millions of people, thousands of people through the soft genocide of hospitals that don't have medicines, of hospitals that don't have cancer machines. Enough blood has been lost at the hands of ZANU-PF. So
that's a very emotional submission there from Tendai. But it is hapana chataka kutazira. And I would say the same thing to ZANU-PF. Even President Emmerson Mnangagwa, hatina chataka kutazira. Please, hatina chataka kutazira. We didn't do no wrong to you, except believing in you in 2017. We thought you had what we were looking for, leadership. But here we are. it's getting worse by day. And I must tell you, the most important timing is in September. You should ask yourself why. It's because I'm sure even within the camps of ZANU-PF want him gone. People are tired of living in a country that is not stable, a lot of stealing, lies, abusing of innocent people. We have got our brothers in prison as we speak. I'm going to read the lawsuit, actually, and also the people that are going to be part and parcel of this. And Diabetes is one of them, who's going to also be the attorney there. So let me read out the statement that was sent out this afternoon by the Zimbabwean human rights lawyers. They said in Harare, the president, Emmerson Mnangagwa, breaking news, is standing trial in court over his government's reluctance to enact legislation aimed at preventing, prohibiting, combating torture, which is prevalent in the country. The trial is scheduled to commence on Monday, 23rd of September at 10 a.m. at Harare High Court, where President Mnangagwa is being sued by prominent human rights lawyer Shava Law Chambers, who is a victim of torture. In an application filed at Harare High Court on 12th of December 2023, Shava, who is represented by Diabetes and the human rights lawyers, wants the court to compel President Emmerson Mnangagwa and other respondents, namely the Justice and Legal Parliamentary Affairs Ministry, which is the Honorable Ziyambi Ziyambi, the Parliament of Zimbabwe, and the Human Rights 365 to assent to the ratify the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or Punishment that was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly in December 1984, which came into operation in June 1987. The human rights lawyer, who is a victim of torture after he was tortured by some unknown assailants in July 2023, argued that torture, violence, and forced disappearances and abductions are widespread in Zimbabwe. Hence, President Mnangagwa must be compelled to deposit the necessary instruments of accession to the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or Punishment with the UN. Place the same of ratification before Parliament within 12 months of the granting of the court order. He charged that President Mnangagwa's failure to accede to the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or Punishment is a breach of the Constitution. It's also a violation of his right to equal protection of the law codified by Section 56 of the Constitution and a breach of the right to constitutionalism and the rule of law guaranteed under Section 47 of the Constitution. Shava bemoaned the systematic pattern of enforced disappearance, abduction, torture, cruel degradation treatment, which is several people, including himself, human rights defenders, opposition, political party supporters, legislators, ordinary citizens have been subjected to, including being injected with unknown substances. He argued that the cases of torture are never investigated. No one is prosecuted for committing such heinous crimes. The Constitution, Shava argued, protects first-generation rights such as the right to life, liberty, fair trial, human dignity, the right not to be subjected to torture, cruel or degrading treatment. That torture is simplicity prohibited under Section 48 of the Constitution, which provides for the right to life, and also under Section 51, which protects the right to human dignity. The rights to lawyer argued that despite the existence of progressive constitutional provisions on torture, personal liberty, fair trial, legal representation, human conditions of detention, human dignity, the same have not been incorporated into subsidiary legislation, are not being enforced in practice. Shava, who stated that there is a culture of impunity which has left hundreds of people without legal recourse, said it was regrettable that Zimbabwe is not ratified the International Convention for the Protection of All Persons from Enforced Disappearances, the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, and Degrading Treatment or Punishment, the optional protocol to the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, or the Rome statute, which would criminalize enforced disappearances of torture and provide means to seek redress intentionally. He said the respondents cited in his application, who are Honorable Ziyambi Ziyambi, he's the Minister of Justice, Ziyambi Ziyambi, President Mnangagwa, the Parliament as well, they played a part on this Shavangu debacle, which also again caused the loss of Bishop Masai. We know these guys are just filth and dirty. and the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission are bound by customary international law, which is part of international law of Zimbabwe, to take measures to ensure the enactment of a law criminalizing torture, and stated that there is no reason why Honorable Ziyambi, President Mnangagwa, Parliament, and also the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission should fail to accede to the Convention Against Torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Shava submitted that Zimbabwe is out of step with the rest of Africa and the world, as Section 162 out of 162 out of 193 members of UN have become state parties to the Convention Against Torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. He conceded that out of 55 African countries, only 4, namely Zimbabwe, Angola, Tanzania, and Arab Democratic Republic, have neither signed or ratified the Convention Against Torture and other cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment, while of the 15 SADC countries are 8 state parties, only 2, Zimbabwe and Tanzania, have neither signed nor ratified the Convention Against Torture and other inhuman treatments. I must say this, I'm going to drop the entire the entire statement here or in the description box so that you guys can read for yourself. But in general, President Emmerson Mnangagwa is going to be standing trial in the High Court for abusing human rights of Zimbabweans. Unfortunately, he has been quiet. I've always been asking questions, saying, why is the Mnangagwa don't even comment when people are being tortured? And first and foremost, he's the first citizen in the country. So there's no way he can escape from all this nonsense that's going on. When people are being ejected out of a plane at the Harare International Airport, right? And they're being tortured at the airport. I'm saying they're being tortured at the airport. So which means when they were building this airport, they had the nerve to create a space where they can torture human beings, torture others, beat people up. That is evil. It's wicked. Like I told you, the timing is quite interesting, because you also know, like for the past 2 days, that last week, yeah, you had Chiwenga on record that corruption is the reason why this country is not having peace, and he's right. Criminals are the reason why there's no peace in Zimbabwe. I said criminals. And we also know that we've had Hope watching on, again, stressing on the very same issue, that President Emmerson Mnangagwa has created a criminal cartel in the country that is harassing, abuse, stealing public funds to the detriment of the people of Zimbabwe. So honestly, it's time, Zimbabweans, we hold hands and stand firm that we demand a normal society and demand that President Emmerson Mnangagwa and his criminal cartel stop the abuse of innocent citizens. Listen, gone are the days where we're just going to say everything is fine. Like we sit down and say, oh, no, but that's okay. No, it's not okay. Things are not okay. Injure one, you have injured the entire Zimbabwe. This whole selfishness of saying, no, but it's not me, so I don't care. No, we care. I was expecting Zimbabweans to cause chaos at the airport the day that these guys were locked up. If I was expecting even those that own the plane, I still want them to be answerable. How would you allow individuals to get into a plane and eject innocent people? Honestly, are you also telling me that the very same airline is now working in cohorts with the criminal cartel to destroy or to hurt Zimbabweans? Because we need to ask the right questions here. So Zimbabwe don't have freedom to do whatever they want to do. No. But President Emmerson Mnangagwa and his children and other people, his friends and his family members, can do as they please. Whereas Zimbabwe does not belong to one person, it belongs to all Zimbabweans. Don't forget 2017, President Emmerson Mnangagwa was in exile in South Africa here, and he left, he came back to Zimbabwe, and he found himself at the front, right? Respectively so, we don't deserve the treatment that we're getting from this regime. We don't deserve it. Like, I want to say this, and this message to get to the VP. Mr. Chiwenga, sir, I know I heard you last week, again, bastardizing or condemning corruption. I want you to know that us as a people of Zimbabwe, we are sick and tired of living in a country that are disrespectful towards other human beings, but they want their wives, their children, and their relatives to live large. We are sick and tired. You guys, you are because we are. You are in those positions because of the people. If the failure to understand and to respect human beings carry on, us, the people of Zimbabwe, are going to do what we have to do to make sure we have the freedom that we deserve. We have heard it. We have heard enough. So I am for so much respect for everyone who's taking President Emmerson Mnangagwa to court. He must be answerable. How come we have never heard him one day condemning brutality? And by the way, I also know that there is no any Zimbabwean person who can just stand up leaving their house, their house to go in there, abduct innocent citizens, torturing them, abusing them, and it's over. There's no Zimbabweans. They have always been loving people. I know us having a culture of respect, of sharing, of believing in each other. But the moment, especially the Second Republic that is under President Emmerson Mnangagwa came through this regime here, things got worse. Things got worse. And I must say, the timing is very much interesting because we also know the very interesting interview that I'm going to do, kind of analyze tonight, that was done by Tinashe Jonas. Let me make this clear to you, if you guys can't see what's going on here in the political space, is that Zimbabweans across the border are fed up. So it's time for us to unite and hold hands and say together we can free ourselves. We do not deserve the abuse of ZANU-PF. We don't. It's not even ZANU-PF, it's criminals in the country. Because if you say ZANU-PF, you are lying, because they are masquerading as politicians. Most of them are hardcore criminals. Because if they were not criminals, they don't abduct and torture. They don't silence people. They don't arrest innocent people and still acquit them. We have a number. We can't even count a number. When you speak truth to power, you are their enemy. So only criminals act that way. Only criminals, no one else. Don't forget, we are also in countries that have got a very good economic standing. And we have never been tortured for nothing. Nothing. I've never heard that Ramaphosa send people to go and torture. I've never heard it. You can't do it. I must say I've got so much respect for the police, like the commissioner. And that's why I want the police to hear me, like Godwin Matangashi to hear me out. And I want him to know that I have so much respect for Mukwananzi. There's a commissioner, the police commissioner in Durban. His name is Mukwananzi. Incredible guy. He does his job. Criminals are being killed. He's not playing games. And that time is coming in Zimbabwe where criminals are going to be held accountable. Criminals, I said criminals, are going to be held accountable for their wrongs. No, no. We don't deserve this nonsense. We don't deserve it. Only your children should be jumping up and down and say they're good all together. Your children, your relative, and the rest of the people in Zimbabwe should suffer. Should be abused by you, individuals who left their own houses to come there and say we want jobs like leaders or ministers, whatever the case may be. Mr. Ziyambi Ziyambi, you left your house. We did not come to you like we are desperate. I wanna simplify this like a lay woman to make it easier to understand. You left your houses, right, and come here and say, no, I want to be the minister. Sir, you're going to have to do your job or you leave and we are going to replace you. It's as simple as that. It doesn't have to be a discussion. We can't discuss. There's nothing to talk about. You are not doing your job. You are a servant. If you fail, leave and give other people an opportunity. So I'm glad. Guys, do what you can. We'll pass the support. Today, be to go ahead, brothers. We have your back. On the other hand, Mr. Chiwenga, there are criminals in the country that have caused a mess. Now stand to your words and make sure people are brought to book and put a stop to evil in this country. It's not only talking. We don't want action. We are sick and tired of talking without no action. We expect action from this regime to do what they're supposed to be doing, is put order in society. All the criminals should be locked up. And all that they've stolen, brought back to the state for the people of Zimbabwe. Unfortunately, we are not playing. We actually mean business. If you think it's a joke, it's not a joke. So guys, tell me what you think in the comment section. You can see what our brothers are doing. Let's give them the support. Let's speak louder on social media. Comment in each way that you want. Say whatever you want. They'll come and listen. They've got their people who come to listen here and read your comments. Speak. Remember, criminals have a tendency of have their ears all over the place. Yeah, criminals are like, because they want to know what people think. But it's unfortunate. Also, on the other hand, people are saying President Emmerson Mnangagwa abandoned his trip to the United Nations because he's afraid of the coup. He's afraid he can come back and find everything gone. Like, these are people's speculations. But tonight we're going to be looking at the collaboration that's coming up, which is going to be Chamisa, Chiwenga, and Kasukuere, and other people against the criminal cartel. I want to put it as a criminal cartel and stop robbing poor people. For those that did not listen to Jonas, please, you can go and listen to him at Gamba Comedia. I'm going to tell you this. I'll bring him here. My questions are going to be even more worse than what you heard them. Want to make sure we expose these people. They must be exposed by names, and it must be on record. And all of them should be held to account. They should be held to account. So please, guys, comment in the comment section. Very quick. That's why it's a breaking news. I'm not taking longer because I'm going to come back later on around 9 tonight as we'll be looking at Chiwenga, Chamisa, Kasukwere against the criminal cartels in Zimbabwe a little bit later on. I love you. God bless you and God bless Zimbabwe. Share the live with everyone else. We must all work together to demand that we have a fair society. I love you and God bless you. Bye for now.